My name is Leah and I am a tutor here on Cambly. So, we are getting closer to that time of the year when we celebrate all things spooky and scary. Yup, you guessed it. It is Halloween. Now, for some of you in some parts of the world, you do not celebrate Halloween. For others in other parts of the world, this could be a different celebration, like Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, as it's known in English, and is celebrated in Mexico. If you celebrate a different day with similar meaning or at the same time of the year in your country, please feel free to let me know at the comments below. That being said, doesn't matter if you celebrate it or not, isn't it always nice to learn about new cultures? So today, we are going to learn a little bit about the history of Halloween and also some necessary words you need to know to celebrate Halloween. So, where does Halloween come from? It comes from an ancient Celtic festival called Samhain, when people would come together and light bonfires and dress in costumes to ward off ghosts. The night before was known as All Hallows Eve, which eventually became Halloween. Over the years, Halloween evolved into a day of activities like trick-or-treating, carving jack-o'-lanterns, and dressing in costumes. Now, for those of you who don't know what trick-or-treating is, this is when kids go around the neighborhood dressed in their costumes, they walk up to their neighbor's door, knock, 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 and the person who opens the door gets met with trick or treat. Usually the person who lives there would then give them some candy, which brings us to our first word of today, candy. Candy is any sugary food made of sugar or syrup and combined with nuts, chocolate, anything you can think of that is sweet. So I have a few examples here today. I have some jelly gummy babies. This is candy. One of my personal favorites, some sour worms. Okay. We also have gum, which classifies as candy. Then there is some lollipops. We get them in different colors and you can suck on them. This is also candy. Another one of my personal favorites, chocolate, and I'm sure all the girls can agree, or even chocolate covered nuts. This is all candy. So please let me know what your personal favorite of candy is in the comments below. Fun fact, a quarter of all the candy sold annually or yearly in the US is sold over Halloween. Let's get into some other Halloween vocabulary. Pumpkin. This is a large, round, orange or yellow vegetable, and we use a knife to carve a scary face into the pumpkin. Then we place a candle inside the pumpkin to shine through and add to the scary effect. Once we've done this, it's known as a jack-o'-lantern, and we usually put these inside or outside our houses as decoration. Witch or wizard. A witch is a female and a wizard is a male. Think Harry Potter. This is usually a person that possesses great magical powers. And in popular stories and movies, they can choose if they want to use their power for good or for evil. Owl. Hoo hoo, hoo hoo. This is a nocturnal bird who hunts mice and other small animals. Usually they are associated with being very mysterious and wise. And also in popular stories and movies, they are portrayed as the pets of witches and wizards. Ghost. Ghosts are believed to be the spirits of people who have passed away in an unfortunate way or were not given a proper burial. In common stories and movies, ghosts usually come back to haunt the people who did them wrong. And thus, usually when we talk about ghosts, it is in a negative way. potion. A potion is a special liquid that witches and wizards cook or brew in a big pot called a cauldron. Normally, something either fantastic or truly terrible happens to the person who drinks the liquid. Vampire. Probably one of my favorite scary characters. Vampires come from old folklore and mythology from the 17th and 18th century. Usually they are nocturnal because stepping into the sunlight will kill them. They also have a never-ending thirst for blood, and they use their long vampire fangs. But the coolest part about a vampire is that they are immortal, which means they live forever. Probably one of the most popular vampire characters of all time is Count Dracula. Bats. Bats are also nocturnal animals, and they are usually associated with vampires. Probably because there is a certain type of species called vampire bats, and they also feed off blood. Commonly, people think of bats as birds, but actually bats are mammals. In fact, they are the only mammals that can fly. During Halloween, we like to cut out bat shapes to decorate our house, along with our jack-o'-lanterns. Pointy hat. This is a hat that is tall and pointy and usually worn by witches and wizards. For those of you who know Harry Potter, think of the Sorting Hat. And be sure to tell me which house you think you belong to in the comments below. I personally am definitely Team Gryffindor. Wolf. A wolf is another animal associated with Halloween because of the legend of werewolves. They were believed to be humans who turned into scary beasts during the full moon and would then kill other humans and animals. It is also believed that if you were bitten by a werewolf, you yourself would turn into a wolf or a werewolf during the next full moon. Candle. A candle is another great decoration for Halloween. Not only do we put them inside our jack-o'-lanterns, but all over the house to give off a nice soft glow. Just be careful to not knock them over because they can be a huge fire risk. Tomb. Also known as a tombstone or a gravestone. This is a special marker we place on the grave of a person who's passed away in loving memory or to pay our respects. Usually you would see the letters R.I.P. engraved on the tombstone, which stands for Rest in Peace. Skull. A skull is the bony part of your head. We like to use it for Halloween, but it is also symbolic in many ways. Sometimes you will see it on a pirate ship flag, or it can even be used to show danger in some warning signs around the world. The Grim Reaper. This character represents death in many cultures in the world. It is believed that he comes to reap the souls of the dead with his scythe. It originated in Europe in the 14th century when the world experienced one of its worst pandemics, called the Black Plague or the Black Death. Spider. These 8-legged creepy crawlies are also associated with witches and wizards. Sometimes they could be a pet. Other times they would put them in a potion. The only thing I know is if I find a spider in my house, it will most certainly meet a certain death. Broom. Well, this is as simple as a tool in your house that you can use to sweep the floor and clean. But in popular movies, this is the vehicle or car of witches and wizards. With one very big difference. We as mere mortals have to drive, whereas they get to fly. Okay, there you have it, Cambly learners. Some new words to talk about Halloween. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson with me today. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Cambly, Cambly is a platform where you have access to friendly native English speakers like myself. You can take a lesson anytime, anywhere, from your computer or your phone. So please feel free to schedule a lesson with me, Leah, at the link below. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.